There's been another twist in the Andrews government's secret polling scandal. We learned yesterday, didn't we, that while 5 million Melburnians were locked in their homes during last year's second wave, Daniel Andrews, well, he was handing out taxpayer millions to a Labor insider to ask Victorians to rate his government's performance out of 10. Well, it gets worse. Secret documents obtained by the Australian newspaper Today show that the same Labor insider, John Armitage, advises his clients to antagonise their political opponents to make them angrier and less coherent. For more on this, I'm joined from Melbourne by the Leader of the Opposition in the Upper House, Victorian Liberal MP, David Davis. David Davis, thank you for your time.
Good evening, Peter.
Has the Premier used taxpayer money to devise a grubby political strategy pitting Victorian against Victorian here?
Well, this is extraordinary, Peter. He's using taxpayers' money for what is essentially a party political polling operation. He's using this money and a Labor-linked polling firm, QDOS, and Mr. Armitage. They don't hide their Labor links under a bushel. Anyone can go online and you'll get that very clearly. But what's extraordinary about this is during the middle of the pandemic, when Victorians were expecting decisions to be made on health advice, and that's what Daniel Andrews was saying. I'm making the decision on health advice only. Actually, what we find is he's testing all these things carefully with polling to see how people felt about the lockdown, to see how people felt he should be loosening or not loosening things, all of this, and rating things, as you alluded to. This is not what should have been occurring. He should have been sticking to the health advice, and he still won't release the health advice, I might add, for any of these decisions. But now we know public money, taxpayers' money, used to do what is essentially a Labor Party polling job. And this is quite wrong.
Well, the interesting point today when I was reading those lines about antagonism, poor old Rachel Baxendale at the Australians, she used to cop it daily from the Premier in the press conferences. He'd have a soft soap to one journalist over here, but he'd be very tough on Rachel, tough on me. I'll wear that turning up when I did. But how is this allowed to continue? How did it happen?
Well, you know, at those press conferences, he was clearly a bully and targeting people. But leaving that aside, I mean, the fact is this is taxpayers' money, hard-earned taxpayers' money, and he's essentially crafting his COVID strategy with micro-polling and narrow polling into different groups and responding in that way. And this is not what he should be doing. He should be following the health advice, releasing the health advice so we can all see it and interrogate it, but not making these decisions by the basis of polling. I mean, this is actually... You know, I mean, polling is not the way to get the best result with COVID. I mean, I don't think anyone thinks that.
Yeah, look, I say again, I'm always amazed at what we can get away within Victoria that's outside the rules in Canberra.